Hey, my friend, it's Melanie Ferguson, your host of Creatives on Fire, the podcast where I hope to inspire you to create a profitable six-figure following online. So turn it up and listen in to amazing stories of success, along with behind-the-scenes secrets and valuable tips from, you guessed it, Creatives on Fire. Hey, my sweet friend, Melanie here. I have a couple of questions for you. I want to ask you if you are struggling at all with overwhelm, feeling like you need to be in a million places, not having enough time. Maybe you struggle with feeling like you're not good enough. Or who am I? Who am I to be sharing this with my audience? That imposter syndrome that a lot of us struggle with. What about just knowing what the next step is you should take in your business? Does any of this resonate with you? If so, I'd love to invite you to Creatives on Fire Insiders. This is an amazing group of creatives who are finding success and growing their businesses together. It's designed to stop the overwhelm, to build your confidence, and to guide you through the next steps you should take in your business. A lot of our focus inside is on video and live video specifically, how to get good at it, how to really capitalize on the time that we spend in our businesses. If this sounds like anything that interests you, come spend some time with us, because let's face it, who you spend your time with matters. Check us out at creativesonfireinsiders.com. We'll see you there. Well, today, guys, I have an exciting guest that's going to share a little bit about something we call print on demand. I have Amy Harrop here, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. Amy, welcome.
Thank you, Melanie. It's a real pleasure to be here. I sincerely appreciate it. And I want to give a big shout out to everybody. So my name's Amy Harrop, and I live in lovely North Idaho with my husband and two cats, our cat family. And as Melanie mentioned, I'm here today just to chat a little bit about print on demand because I think it's a really exciting opportunity for anybody to get involved. There's a lot of technological availability now just to the average ordinary person who wants to get involved with this. And so I'm super excited to talk a little bit about that with you today.
Yay, we're so glad to have you here. So let me ask you the first question. What is print on demand? What the heck is it?
Print on demand is great because what it is somebody will place an order for something, and it can be a wide variety of things. It can be anything from physical products to something like a journal or something like that. And then the item is actually created and shipped out to them. So it's printed on demand. It's only printed and then shipped to the person after they have ordered it. And there's a lot of great benefits with that is because you do not need to carry a lot of inventory or any inventory. And in most cases, you don't even have to store it or ship it or do anything. The companies that are doing the printing are the ones who are going to send it directly to your customer.
Love that. So hands off money-making opportunity.
Yes. And that's one of the reasons I think it's such a great income stream to get started with, because once you've set up your listing and, monitoring it for success, of course, but there's very little to do after that. People click on it, buy it, and then you just review the info, and then the company, they'll go ahead and ship it out.
So let me ask you, Amy, what is that first step? What would be the first step I would take if I wanted to implement print on demand?
Well, I think the first step, of course, would be to decide on a niche if you decided what you want to do. Now, there are some niches and topics that can do better than others. But the great thing too about print on demand is there's a big catalog out there. So you might want to decide on focusing on a handful of items and in a specific niche. I think that's good to have a little bit of focus at the beginning so you don't get overwhelmed.
So you need to decide. You need to decide, like, if I'm going to sell, what are some choices like t-shirts and all of the merch, or what are the other categories?
Yeah. So you could decide on two things. You could say, I'm going to focus a little bit more on a niche or a sub niche, and then I'm going to focus on certain types of merchandise. So let's say you're a dog lover and you want to do dog things. So perhaps you want to narrow that down maybe to a handful of dog breeds at first. And then after that, you might want to narrow it down to personalized dog collars and dog tags, for example, as opposed to just slapping a dog on any and all merchandise. Now, of course, if things are going well, you can definitely make it bigger, because that's another great thing, is it's easy to add in new products. But having some type of focus, I think, would really be a great first step for that.
Yay. So the second thing would be what? Like picking your company that you're going to do this through, or what would be next?
Yes, definitely. I actually recommend a couple of companies to start out with that are easier than others, and that integrate with places like Etsy that makes it even easier. So you can take a look at their product line and see what they have available, and work with them. And I do recommend working with companies, if you are going to sell on Etsy, that are integrate with Etsy on the back end, because why make it harder on yourself? And, of course, it also have a good reputation and good delivery time and so forth as well.
So when you talk about work on the back end, so basically once you pick your company, you can pick from their products, add your creative, price it, and then you can apply it across the board to, say, your Shopify or your website or your Etsy store. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right. And Shopify is great. They do have a lot of apps, but if you haven't really done anything before, you might want to start just with Etsy first, because again, you don't have to then set up your own website. If you want to later, then you already have your merchandise and you know what's selling. And then a lot of times with these companies too, they will have the creatives, they will have the where somebody's modeling the out thing, and you can just put your images on there and things like that. And so you again just have to do very little work with that. You might want to modify your listing a little bit to make it unique to you, but they're providing a lot of the materials for you, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, which is great.
I love that. I think they're mock-ups, right? So
Right, mock-ups, right. I had a brain freeze
yeah,
there. That's the word I was looking for.
no worries. So let me ask you, do you find in your experience, because I know you've been doing this a while, do you find in your experience that there's a big difference in the different companies as far as pricing of the merchandise, like to you, the base price?
Well, I do think some companies focus on certain things over others. For example, I really think Printful is one of the best companies to get started with. But if you want to focus on stickers, they don't really do stickers. So you would have to look maybe at, was it Printify, I think it is, and some of the other companies. So you want to start with something that can probably be relatively easily made. But I do find that when you're looking at the top few companies, they are somewhat similar. It's just sometimes, more what they specialize in. But most cases, you're not going to find big price differentials between these companies, because the cost of manufacturing is similar. And so, it's just, again, going with the ones that you find are a little bit that work for you or that are more convenient for you.
Got it. So pick a company that offers mostly what it is that you're interested in selling, and make sure that it's convenient and it works with what your goals are. Right?
Right.
Awesome. So when I have picked my company, I've picked my niche, and I'm getting started, what would be something that I should remember that will make my life easier? Like what's the process?
Well, one of the things I think is more of a little secret sauce, and that's to offer something a little bit different. For example, customization, because customization allows you to differentiate your product. So instead of offering a water bottle other people might be offering, you can offer a water bottle with somebody's name on it, or a picture of their birth flower from the birth month or something, whatever you want. So I think offering something like that, which is relatively easy to implement if you know how, is going to be able to set you apart. And then, of course, I think once you're ready to move forward, you want to make sure that you have tweaked your description and your keywords and your listing. So it's going to be bringing in that type of targeted traffic who are interested in what you have.
I love, love, love both of those things. So let's dive a little deeper on the personalization. Is that time consuming any further or difficult?
No, it isn't. And there's sort of two paths to go with this. Again, I recommend when you're getting started, you do it the quickest and easiest way, which is to just simply put personalization notes in your listings. And again, Etsy does offer that option. And then many of these companies on the back end, once they have the order, you can just simply modify it and add that personalization option. Now, there is a second level to this where you can work with third-party tools and so forth. And I know, for example, like Shopify has several apps and so forth, where you can streamline that, and it's almost like an automatic type of thing. But whether you do it manual or automatic, it is a streamlined process and something that will allow you to set yourself apart from people who might be selling similar items.
I love that idea. And then to piggyback on the second part of what you said, remind me the second one.
Oh, I was just talking about, making sure your listings and description and
Oh,
keywords, your
yes.
tags are
Yes.
targeted. And sometimes
Yes.
you can work with tools. For example, eRank offers a free level if you want to get a look and see what types of tags people are using for similar items. And I do definitely think while you don't want to copy your competition, it's really good to take a look at see what other people are doing that might be offering something similar, so you can see what things are performing well and so forth.
Yes, I was going to say, would you recommend going on and looking around and doing some definite, research before you get started?
Yes, for sure, because it's all valuable real estate. And I often think it's more about treating that like a little sales page. Like you really want everything to count. You want your listing, your description, and your tags and your mock-ups to get people to click that add to cart button. And so you want everything to work together as much as it can.
So how long do you feel like it takes for your SEO to start kicking in?
It could kick in very quickly if it's done correctly, especially if you're talking about internally. So if you're talking about, for example, listing on Etsy, the Etsy internal search engine, that can happen really quickly. You can also even go further with that by using your similar thing and heading over to Pinterest and doing some pins, and then you have the Pinterest search engine. So there's these different things that you can use for targeted traffic without even having to make sure it's SEO with Google. And that can those internal search engines can get you started quickly.
Okay. So let me back up just a little tiny bit. So if I'm brand new and I'm super excited, I found my niche, I'm starting with a certain company that I feel like it's a good fit. I've got my listing in. What is the better frame of mind? I know that for me, I would feel like I need 50 things in the shop, like right now. Is it better to just focus on optimizing the one product, or how many should you start with?
That's a good question. And people do have different things. I mean, I think, it is a little weird if you go to somebody's store and they have like one thing. Like when you go shopping in real life, that's not the case. I think starting with maybe 20 to 30 is good. And then if you want to be consistent and list new things weekly or monthly, I think the important thing is to be consistent. So once you get your base, whatever that's 20 or 50, then start listing new items consistently on your schedule. Start looking at your statistics for your items that you have up there, and don't be afraid to tweak your listings or make changes if they're not performing how you want them to perform.
Okay, so you're blowing my mind. 20 or 30 things sounds like so many. Are you talking about even the variants like colors and sizes? Or are you talking about a whole nother product?
Well, I think with the variants, you can include those in the personalization. And that's where niche selection comes into play. Because let's say, again, you want to do dog accessories. Well, you could do the personalized dog tags, the dog collars, the dog bowls. And pretty soon, before you know it, you're going to have 10 different items, but you're still within your niche. So I do think having some things that are separate but related, is good. And also the collars, let's say you don't have to have just one collar. You could have variations with collars if they were different enough. So it's not something to be necessarily overwhelmed with, because I think once you also go to the print on demand companies and you start looking through their catalog, you'll see that there's enough there. If you're doing apparel, you can offer, the long sleeve, maybe a different style, short sleeve. So you could have those in your one listing, or if you feel they're different enough, you could make them two separate listings.
Got it. Got it. So, Amy, when you are finished putting your post together and you have your product ready and you're ready to push go, where all besides SEO and Pinterest can you promote?
Well, there's social media, of course, Instagram and Facebook, and that can be great, especially if you are, again, tailoring and targeting your social media content to what you're actually selling. So that doesn't necessarily mean going, of course, in and spamming and doing a bunch of other stuff, but you can have your, some great graphics and images and visuals. Sites like Canva allow you to create those quickly and easily for free. So you can bring across your branding and have different things for that. You can also do YouTube. You can do short product videos. So those are just a few of the ways. I know TikTok has been very popular, starting to be. So I think it just depends on terms of what you want to focus on. And that goes back again to the niche, because you're looking really at who your target audience is. For example, if you're doing something more business related, you might want to be focusing more on LinkedIn. If you're doing something more aspirational and lifestyle, maybe Instagram is good. So that would, of course, dictate where you want to put your message.
Got it. And so when you are putting it out there, do you feel like it's important to go ahead and place your own order so that you have the physical product with you for photos? Or how important would it be to make sure, like, for quality control? I mean, like, do you ever order your own product?
Yes, I definitely think ordering a sample, and most companies will allow you to order a sample as opposed to having to place a separate order like through your cart or your shop or whatever. So you just order a sample from them. And I certainly have done that in the past. And it's just a good idea because you can see shipping time and quality and things along those lines. Now, if you're going to end up putting a bunch of stuff up, you don't necessarily need to order every single thing. But if it is your first time working with the company, you might want to at least order from them a sample once or twice just to get an idea.
Okay. And on that same vein, when would you ever remove a product from your product line?
Again, I think that depends on what your goals are. If you have something up and you're not making any sales and other items are, it might be a good idea to remove it. If over time you've decided to shift your niche a little bit and something is just, it feels like it's not part of your niche or part of your branding, you might want to remove it. So I like to call that sort of the feedback loop. You might start with something and then you get your feedback and then you make changes.
Got it. And give us like a little snippet of what you feel like the potential is with print on demand income wise.
The potential is huge because there are so many buyers just on Etsy. And then when you start talking about e-commerce in general, and a lot of these buyers are repeat buyers, we're talking about millions of buyers. And print on demand and e-commerce is actually a multi-billion-dollar industry. So the income potential is there. And the other thing I think is that because of this technology, it's available to everybody now. It's not just available for huge, like big companies and corporations. Anybody can sell print on demand items because these companies have made the technology available to anybody. So I think being consistent is important. I've never, and I'm not going to ever say like, oh, you can, make a full-time income in 1 month or something like that. That might be the case. It might not be the case. A lot of times it will depend on, what the person's doing. But if you have an idea or a vision and you are consistent, whether you're putting in 5 hours a month, or more, you're going to start seeing, things happening for you, and you're going to start seeing your business growing.
Got it. I love that. And when you say consistent, how often should you add a new product to your store once you're going?
I think, again, that I've heard different things. I think that probably every week or 2 weeks, at the very lowest, I think once a month. So, if you can add in something every week to your store, that's going to be great because you're going to get people coming in and looking at that and browsers and seeing. And if you do decide to build a buyer's list or even just a list of potential customers on Etsy using your About page, for example, or you're going to use Shopify and maybe use some plugins that allow you to collect emails, you can start notifying those people of the new things that you have. And that makes it great because then people will keep coming back. Or social media. So there's a lot of great ways to leverage putting new things into your store or your shop.
I love that. And that's what this group is about. Your 6-figure following, just growing it and using all sorts of avenues to get new people in your audience that buy from you. So, Amy, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge about print on demand. Would you tell us where we can find you online?
Sure. You can find me at amyharrop.com.
Awesome. So you also have a little product that we're going to be dropping the link to. Tell us a little bit about your course.
Yes, it's called Easy Personalized Pod, and it's pretty much what it says on the tin. It's a course. And what I love about this is it's not just a course. It actually comes with graphic templates and easy to edit PowerPoint. So it's really designed for people who maybe haven't gotten started with print on demand. They're new to that. And it's all about getting started with print on demand and offering personalization and customization, which, as I mentioned earlier, is going to set you apart. So this course is like what I like to call an implementation course, because it includes the training and it also includes the graphics that you have the right commercial use rights to edit and add to your print on demand products.
I love it. I'm excited to check it out. So I will drop the link here for us. And Amy, we super appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my friend, for listening to the podcast. I'm blessed every single time you come back and listen to an episode. It's especially amazing when you share it with others on social media. So be sure to follow Creatives on Fire online. Listen, if you have not already done so, I want you to go ahead and download the 5 ideas I personally used to explode my online audience growth to a 6-figure following. You can find that at creativesonfirepodcast.com. I appreciate you, and until next time, stay inspired.